Hello, welcome to Who's Who. I'm your host, Johnathan Moncada, and today we're going to talk with one of the two guitar teachers here at VMT, Mr. Ric Cortez. Thank you for being able to join us today, and let's have some fun. To start off the show, I would like to know, how long have you been a guitar teacher here at VMT?
For 20 years. This is my 21st year here at VMT.
And how did you first come to discover VMT?
A friend of mine that I went to college with, Stacy Weil, was on faculty here, had just been hired, and she wrote me a letter and told me to give her a call, said that they might be looking for a guitar teacher. There were a bunch of teachers here, but none of them really knew how to read music or teach how to read music, literacy. And she goes, she says, do you know Eddie Galvan? And I said, of course I know Eddie Galvan. That's Dr. Carroll's father, and he was the dean of music here at VMT at that time. And she says, you should give him a call. So I called him, and he invited me to come to visit the school, and I reluctantly did, but I was basically hired on the spot, to make a long story short, and been here ever since.
And are you pleased with being able to teach students on how to play the guitar?
Yeah, I love this job. This is it's kind of I never really planned this career for myself. Before I was doing this, I was just playing gigs for a living and doing recording sessions, and I was pretty happy doing that. I had a very humble little apartment in Corpus Christi, and but what was nice about it was the backyard was on the bay, it was on the water, so I would wake up every morning and go to the backyard and fish for a while and practice during the afternoon and then go play a gig. That was my life, doing that. And so I didn't plan on coming and becoming a public school teacher, but when my friend Stacy Weil called me and we got into communication, and I got in touch with Eddie Galvan, and all of that happened, and I ended up here, and I thought, actually, honestly, I thought I kind of liked it, but I kind of didn't like it at that time. The change in life, because I was doing something completely different, which I was really enjoying. But that was 20 years ago, and here I am still.
Well, it's good to have you here, sir.
Good to be here.
When we come back, we will learn more about what Mr. Cortez brings to VMT after this. Welcome back. Now, before we went on the break, we were able to get a better understanding of what exactly Mr. Cortez helps bring to VMT. What do you expect from your students when they attend your class?
Well, I don't expect them to know anything, but I do expect them to have a good attitude and to want to learn something. And that is, to me, that's been, the best kind of student, a person who is open to learning and is motivated to learn and to practice and to get better. That's really all I want from a student. I don't expect them to come to my class knowing anything, just wanting to know, that's all.
And what are some of the things you believe that your students learn by attending your class from the beginning to when they graduate?
Well, if a student is with me for a number of years, and most of them end up doing that, um, I obviously want them to have acquired some skills in guitar and playing music, and that is important. But I also want them to learn a sense of responsibility, a sense of contributing to the community somehow through music, um, and hopefully that this skill that they've learned will stay with them for the rest of their lives, whether they choose as a career or not. You know, if they don't choose it as a career, that's completely fine, and most don't. And I'm totally fine with that, as long as they are good people and learn how to contribute to society in some positive way. And I try to instill that, as well as, you know, trying to teach them guitar skills and music skills. I just try to teach them how to be good people and being responsible, contributing members to society.
And what are some of the life lessons that you believe you think that your students learn from your class?
Just pretty much that, being responsible. Some of the students that I'm most proud of, my former students, have turned out to be incredibly responsible and motivated people, and some of them are still in the music, have music as a career. Some of them are businessmen or women, and some of them have become teachers, like elementary teachers or some other kind of teacher. But they've become something that's valuable to society, and they contribute somehow. That to me has been the thing that makes me the most proud of some of my students when they go off into the world and do these things, whether it has anything to do with music or not. You know, so some of them don't have anything to do with music, some of them do, and some of them have a mix. I have one student who owns a business of teaching karate and teaching art and teaching music, and it's a business for him, yet he's still teaching people to do things, and he's doing quite well. So I'm very proud of that.
You're watching Who's Who. We'll be right back after this. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, this is something I really wanted to know. How did you get interested in teaching students on how to play a guitar?
Well, I guess that's a complicated question, because my parents are both teachers. They're retired teachers. They made a career of teaching. My dad was a high school teacher, football coach, and my mom was an elementary teacher. And so you could kind of say that teaching's in my blood. But you know, when they were doing that and I was just a student, I really didn't have that as a plan in my life to teach. But when I was in high school, one of my music teachers in high school asked me to teach, my choir teacher asked me to teach her guitar lessons, because she wanted to learn to play guitar so that she could teach guitar lessons. And so I taught her guitar lessons, and I've taught several of my friends how to play that were interested. And from very early on, you know, from a young age, probably your age, I was teaching people something. And whether I knew it or not, or realized it or not, I was becoming a teacher, even though consciously I didn't really want to be a teacher. That's what I was telling myself at that time, in those days. But I kind of had it in me for most of my adult life, since I was a teenager, of teaching kids. And I had a conversation with one of my college roommates like a year ago, and we hadn't talked in several years, since college pretty much. And I was telling him what I was doing now, and he says, well, you've always, you're a teacher, man. You've always been the teacher. You've taught all of us, And I didn't realize it at the time, but yeah, I guess even in college, I was teaching my fellow students things. And I was learning from them too. Some of them were teaching me. And it's always been a thing about teaching and learning for me. And ultimately, the result is playing music, because that's what I ultimately want to do, and that's what I love to do, is just play music. But in the process of learning how to play and all these experiences, it's always been teaching. And so I guess it's only natural that I became a teacher, And it was a lucky opportunity for me to get a call from my friend Stacy and talk to Mr. Galvan and get this job.
And if you can look back from the very beginning to right now, what will be the one thing you'll be most proud of from your class?
From my class? Oh God. I would say that, when students come back after they've graduated and they tell me that they're successful and they share their success stories with me and they thank me for affecting them in some positive way, when I hear that, that makes me the most proud. Just my students' success, the people that they've become after high school, and they come back and say that VMT or my class or whatever had like a really profound effect on them, and there's a lot of that, and so I'm very proud of that.
I would like to thank my guest today, Mr. Ric Cortez, for being able to come talk to us about what he's been able to bring here at VMT, and I would like to thank you personally. Thank you for coming by.
Pleasure to be here.
Is there anything you would like to add to the audience, like to help inspire, or anything personal?
Well, I guess that whatever you do in life, be a responsible person. Try to give back to the community somehow, in your own way. Everybody's got some kind of talent or skill, and develop that. Whatever it is that you're good at, develop it, whether it's speaking or performing or making a piece of art or whatever, dancing, writing, whatever it could be. Give back to the community, and it comes back to you. But don't do it for that, just give back. It's a good thing.
All right, well, thank you for being here. I'm your host, Johnathan, and this has been Who's Who in Laredo. Thanks for watching. See you next time.